we were kids, we were all taught the 9 planets in our elementary schools. I can still remember the little saying that they taught us to help us remember the order. My very extraordinary mother just served us 9 pies. Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto. But now Mom doesn't serve us pies because Pluto has been officially removed from the planet roster and is now considered a dwarf planet. In this presentation, I will be presenting you the facts of the situation, and hopefully you will be able to see why Pluto should not be considered a planet in our solar system. Pluto was discovered on February 18, 1930. The reason it was discovered so much later than all the other planets was because it is so small. Pluto is only 1/6 of the Moon's mass and 1/3 of its density, just so you have an idea. And although Pluto wasn't officially removed from the planet roster until 2006, it began to be questioned as early as 1970 as more similarly sized objects were discovered around it in the area of space known as the Kuiper Belt. I guess the one body that really sparked the controversy was the discovery of Eris. Eris was discovered in 2005, and as you can see by the image, it is slightly larger than Pluto. There is some kind of dispute as to how much larger it is because we don't really know how big everything is out there, but everyone agrees that Eris is larger. But Eris was never even considered to be a planet. So that kind of brought up more questions as to why Pluto was a planet. So some rules were established in 2005 by the International Astronomical Union as to what it takes to be a planet. Rule number 1, it must orbit the sun. Rule number 2, it must have enough mass to be a sphere by its own gravitational forces. And rule number 3, it must have cleared the neighborhood around its orbit. Rule number 3 is the rule that most dwarf planets, including Pluto and Eris, fail. So what does clear the neighborhood even mean? It just means that the celestial body is gravitationally dominant and there are no bodies of comparable size other than its own satellites or objects under its gravitational influence. Being in the Kuiper Belt, there are all these little dwarf planets of comparable size that could gravitationally influence Pluto, so it is not considered a planet anymore. Most people want Pluto to be considered a planet for nostalgia. Pluto had been a planet for 76 years, and so it feels wrong to them to demote it now. But there is kind of some more legitimate dispute. Some scientists argue about what the phrase clearing the neighborhood means. Under a really strict interpretation, Jupiter, Earth, Mars, and Neptune fail clearing the neighborhood. For example, Earth has 10,000 near-Earth asteroids, and Jupiter has 100,000 Trojan asteroids. And if Neptune had cleared the neighborhood, Pluto and the other dwarf planets of the Kuiper Belt would not be there. But most scientists agree that clearing the neighborhood just means that they are the most dominant mass. For example, Earth is more massive than all 10,000 of those asteroids combined, and Neptune is gravitationally dominant to Pluto. So NASA is currently sending a probe out to Pluto in the Kuiper Belt called New Horizons. Hopefully this mission will provide more concrete data versus the estimates that we have used. A lot of the size measurements out there are based on math and how things affect each other based on gravity. But until 2015, when the probe will reach there, we just need to accept the current theories and estimations, and that Pluto is not a planet. So textbooks now show only 8 planets, but they contain more information about our universe than ever before. Pluto being demoted to a dwarf planet only demonstrates that we have learned so much more about our solar system, and in the future we might discover another 9th planet even further out than the Kuiper Belt and Pluto and Eris. The possibilities are endless. Thank you.